Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How is everyone doing tonight? We'll see if I can get through a broadcast without getting shut down. We're going to talk about what's going on. Big things we know are going on. Some people think, oh, nothing's going on. It's just all talk and that we're doomed. And, no, we're not. Tomorrow's the big meeting with the generals, and Trump said he would be there. So, yeah, I know a couple of people dropped off. Oh, no picture show. Well, they got to listen to me talking. If that ain't good enough, well, too bad. Too bad. Go watch a picture show on somewhere else. Phil got a loose screw or somebody else. But anyway, folks, yeah, it was frustrating these past couple of days with my streams getting shut down. The Rumble stream went through without a hitch, never lost contact, even edited out the dead spot where my transmission was shut down. So I will have to upload this video afterwards to Rumble, as I am not simulcasting. Keep up with my good friends over on Rumble. But anyway, who's here with me? Sissy's here. Adrienne. Sherry's here. Linda's here. All right. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you. I've got in my title, Riot Racket. And we're finding out more and more about the modus operandi of these people. Why do they want to have conflicts? Why do they want people to come out and raise the devil? Well, they make money on that. They make money on it. Like the woman who was screaming and yelling at the ICE agent and got pushed down to the floor. Guarantee you, there's going to be lawsuits against that ICE agent, even though he's been reinstated, which would have never happened if Patriots hadn't called up and said, well, what are you doing? Firing the ICE agent because he had some woman raising hell and verbally assaulting him, physically assaulting him, harassing him, pursuing, pestering him, shrieking in his ear. I'd have kicked her right in the ass. I've said that many times. And for an officer to get someone to comply, you are allowed to do strikes. You're allowed to pop them in the nose, pop them on the head, kick them in the rear end, whatever it takes. So, no, this attitude has to change, and the lawsuits. What are these judges doing, handing out? Oh, we've got 10 defendants. Well, I guess they all get $50,000 apiece for being pepper sprayed when they were sitting in the middle of the road and wouldn't get up and leave, and they all get pepper sprayed. That happened about a year and a half ago with the Just Stop Oil bunch, and these degenerates that are paid rioters, they understand. They understand that is, if they play their cards right. I should have, if I could have got a copy of that video. An ICE agent just barely touched this dumpy guy that was old, fat guy that was raising Cain. And what a show he put on, going backwards, waving his arms and falling down to the ground like he'd been punched by the Incredible Hulk. And he ended up getting arrested. But they exaggerate, and they know that not just the gift cards and whatever else they get paid for riding. They know that if they can goad a camera moment and sue, they know that's part of the jackpot. And what is it with these judges that award that? We should be looking at judges with a side eye. We've got they're actively tearing down our system financially. And I heard someone mention, I think it was Mark Levin, with General Flynn. He spent $7 million in his defense after Comey set him up, put him in debt, lost his home. $7 million. All they got to do, like Kamala Harris said, point a finger at you, and with a stroke of their pen, they can ruin your life. There's so many people that plead guilty just to get out of the meat grinder. Well, you plead guilty, do time served, and be on probation. And it's like, well, if I don't plead guilty, well, you could look at 20 years in jail and $2 million and more in legal fees. So it's a corrupt system. It's slimy and vile. Just about every corner that these insidious Marxists have wiggled themselves into. Oh, I got a lot of people I didn't get a chance to say hi to. Pappy Two Bears is here. Colette's here. Let's see, where did I leave off? Yeah, we're getting a show on the road, Adrienne. How you doing? Let's see. So, the reason I'm bringing that up, we got to know where they're at. Root them out. Hi, Google account. How you doing? Rain, how you doing? Roland. Yeah, get everyone. Go everyone. Get everyone. That's right. Choosy, nice to see you. I'm reading a somebody wants to go out. What a little pain in the butt. Okay, if you better go out. Let's see. You're back, hoping to see Camelot's moderator. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. If I don't know them, they ain't worth knowing. Are you going to go out or what? I got to sit here and hold this door open for you. Gonna let moths in. Go on. Go. I guess you all know who's giving me time here. There she went. Goodbye. I don't know if y'all heard any crickets or not. But anyway. Hi, Sherry. Nice to see you. Anne's here. Yeah, Sadie. She was knocked out of sleep on a chair when I started my hi, folks, is mountain. I woke her up and then she wanted to go out. But last night, or night before, yeah. Last night, I had it in my studio that about these teachers union out of Chicago was having a memorial for that woman that died in Cuba of old age after she took a cop's life. Right, folks? An avowed communist. And 90% of the audience never heard of this woman. But she was with the, as they said, black activist group in the 70s. She was with the Black Panthers, which morphed into Acorn, which morphed into all the crap that, well, Acorn supported Obama. They got him in there. So, the teachers union, young teachers know about this person and are lamenting her passing. We don't need communists teaching our children. We don't need them getting government money to be activists and to recruit children into a communist ideology. That's almost as bad as what they're doing with the ones who want to talk kids into doubting their gender or living a life of hedonism and psychological dysphoria. Oh. Yeah, Tim Pool, I let them do their thing. People are smart enough to see what's going on. People are smart enough to see what's going on. he did put up a community post about this character that is going to be doing the Super Bowl halftime show. I've never heard of this person. Bad Bunny? Bad Bunny. Have you ever heard of this person, Bad Bunny? Apparently, he's a Latino singer that dresses like a woman. He's in a dress, and Tim Pool put up gay AF. Football is gay AF. So I don't know that you could paint him with a broad brush. Hi, Joshua, and say that he's not down with a lot of them. Hey, they got to earn a living. They got staff. They got this and that, and they're used to making a lot of money. So they go what you have the way the wind blows. But on the whole, Tim Pool has been playing a role in the Great Awakening. So, yeah, I'm not going to begrudge him that. MS Motorsports, how you doing? Well, a lot of people start out Trump haters. He just got married, MS. Dirt. How you doing? Oh, I think you're talking about the, not Tim Pool. You're talking about that character that's going to do the halftime show. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. Yeah, he's a flamer dirt. I've never heard of him. I never heard of him. But then again, I never heard of Lady Gaga till Obama mentioned. I said, who the hell's that? Really all just flashes and bans. But anyway, who pointed it out that Obama, let me find it. I had an article from Christina Guaya about this communist infiltration. I'll read it. Oh, Jack Posobiec put it up. Obama's best friend, Jay-Z, you come to find out, runs the Super Bowl selection process through his company, Rock Nation, which has an exclusive contract with the NFL. This is who chooses the halftime show, the most watched musical performance in America. Barack Obama's best friend, Jay-Z. That's who. That now you know why you got a gay man running around in a dress at the Super Bowl. You had to know Barack had something to do with it because he said every young man should have a gay mentor, somebody to look up to, right? So I'm not surprised. And we see how these things work. Oh, by the way, we talked about gold about maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. It's knocking on the door, 4,000. And as I always say, a pat on the back is 18 inches away from a kick in the pants. But I have I've said it many, many times. Buy gold. And it's at $3,825 an ounce. When it just 3 weeks or a month ago, it was at 3,500, so it's or 34 or something like that. So you can see which way this is trending. It's all going to be tied into gold, except I guess with cryptocurrencies, that's just going to be a electronic crapshoot, right? You win big or lose big. Hi, Melvita. How you doing? Yeah, that's right. Not just the Super Bowl, but a lot of different things we have on show satanic imagery because hi, Marla, because we've got, that's what we're dealing with. And I've said it many times that Marxism and communism, same suit, different bow tie, is a philosophy that's from Satan. It's not human liberty. It requires a tyrant. Hi, Robin. Nice to see you. It requires a tyrant. And I did get the messages. I was waiting to see if Miss Mendersue would come in. She left a message that Buy Me a Coffee was not working in the description. So what I've been dealing with is, and I'm watching my clock because usually it's around the 20-minute mark. They take me down. So I'm on a different platform. I might screw them up because I'm using a different platform. There you are, Miss Mendersue. Yes. So I could put I have a new link in the description that I did through a different platform that might throw them off. And if it doesn't work, I could put one in the chats. I don't know, but they have removed my ability on the other platform to post links with no notice, no reasoning. And that's what they did to me the last time. They suspended me last year. Sparky, how you doing? Well, Marxism, if you study that whole thing, Karl Marx, as I've said, he goes as far back as to where he wrote a letter to Abraham Lincoln that was actually answered by Abraham Lincoln's ambassador. I've read the letter, shown the letter, talked about it. You're talking from 1865. This bunch of ne'er-do-wells thinking that they can rule humanity. They know how to rule humanity. That's what communism and Marxism is. A bunch of eggheads that think they know how to rule humanity. And of course, they don't believe in God. Of course not. Nobody would be more important or more special or more knowledgeable than them. They couldn't humble themselves to a God, Jesus. They are far too smart. You know that. But anyway, their name of their game is how the Soviet Union leadership passed from one to the other was through poisonings, assassinations, ruling with an iron fist, purging opponents, wiping out sections of the population. Yeah, that's really living good, ain't it? I ought to get a copy of that Trotsky speech where he's telling everybody, if somebody is a counter-revolutionary, you SHOOT them. Telling that to crowds. You think it's bad now. You think it's bad now with the Chicago mayor, with Pritzker, and all these loudmouths. They made idiots of themselves today, stirring up the pot. Well, Trotsky would talk to crowds of thousands, telling them, if you see a counter-revolutionary, take care of them right there in the street. That's what he said. They should be SHOOT. And they did it too. Oh, really? Let's see. Mom Dami's whole plan. Mom Dami, Eric Adams backed out of the race. They say Cuomo is way down in the polls. No, well, I tell you, that's what the Boy Scouts started allowing, and yeah, you don't want to enroll your kid with Boy Scouts. Nobody had a problem with gay people. I should get some clips from Fatty Arbuckle in 1910, 1915, 1920. I think they called them dandies back then. Nobody picked on them or beat them up or did anything to them. I've been all through that. Semi-modern day history, movie stars, television stars, music stars, people. Well, Elton John's gay, okay? Barry Manilow's gay. Everybody knows it. Gomer Pyle, Jim Nabors is gay. Everybody knew it. And they were big stars and nobody picked on them and they made a hell of a lot of money. But now the recruitment crowd is what we're going to worry about. That's the Mike Shell bunch, Mike Shell Obama. Yeah, I saw that, Colette, from Trump put it up in his Truth Social. I gotta get some of these stories here. He said, put him in there. He's not going to get any money. He to fulfill his promises, he's got to have federal money. And Trump's saying he ain't going to get it. As a matter of fact, they ought to lock his rear end up for the Communist Control Act. Why not? It's still law, right? Here's a picture of him. Breaking Eric Adams dropping out. Zoran Mamdani now has 83% to win the New York mayor election. 83%. Yeah, I'd cut off the umbilical cord to New York. Places like New York, California, they all say, well, we're the economic powerhouses. The flyover states don't do anything. Yeah, how much money goes into your states? Yeah, Rock Hudson, that's right, Roland. He was had sugar in his gas tank. Todd said it too. It's right, Rock Hudson. Perry Mason. I mean, it's just, hi, Buckeye. Nice to see you. There's so many of them, and nobody bothered and picked on them. And that was way before they ever did Pride Month or March or parades. Somebody had talent, singing talent, acting talent, and they didn't. They weren't lewd and lascivious. Like Liberace, he sued. It might have been somebody. It was like ABC or maybe Newsweek. I can't remember, but he sued. Maybe it was a gossip column. That were putting out stories that it was gay. Liberace. I wish my brother George were here. He dressed up in a feathered robe and flamboyant. I mean, and he sued him. And later in his life, he was being interviewed. And the question was gently put, maybe not as blunt, but, well, you're obviously gay. Why would you sue somebody for saying you're gay? And he said that wasn't the point. He said, my private life is my private life. And if they don't know what they're talking about, they should keep their mouth shut. Is basically what he said. And he won. But he was gay. That's right, Colette. Is when they started forcing it on people and trying to cultivate children. And then take it past, they want to take it past simply being, as Archie Bunker would say, you're regular gay. Hey, that's a regular gay. They want to go past the regular gay stuff. They want to go to the uh, bi, tri, uh, trans, all that crap that you regular gays, as Archie would say, don't want to get involved in. They don't even care for gay marriage. Who pushed that crap? And that's going to get overturned. It's an unnatural state. It doesn't serve a purpose. And anything that can't be taken care of through civil agreements, as far as property inheritance and things, that the primary function of a marriage is a union between man and a woman to naturally procreate and raise children. And that is the future of your country. Shireen, how you doing? Yeah, that's right, Miss Wintersue. He sued on principle. Really, Tuesday, you couldn't understand Gomer Pyle? Well, golly, Shazam! Surprise, surprise, surprise. That's easy enough to understand. Well, that's right, Colette. But we got to be careful what we say, right? Misfits, malcontents, miscreants. Other words, Democrats. Well, we were watching I was watching this poll they had, and I also watched a little bit of Victor David Hanson, Trump or Citizen Free Press posted a clip from him, and they're saying the Democrat Party is at 30% approval rating, which is, historically dismal. And Victor David Hanson had it at 23%. Well, that is bad, but it ain't as bad as it should be. If a rational person were looking at it, who is down with this stuff, with the transgenderism and in schools with little kids, and allowing anybody from anywhere in the world to come here and take benefits and receive housing and food stamps. Who in the hell in their right mind thinks that just those two issues, never mind an ocean of other issues, can it be that there's 30% of our population that is that damn stupid? That's why I was saying, who are these people that think this way? And unfortunately, there is a sizable number. As I read Minus Trash Pail comments, now this impact comments, you can tell a lot of them are from boomers, okay, old, well, 60s hippies are, pretty much going the way of the dodo bird, but they're still out there. But you've got people in their 60s, 70s on up that are just have their brains swimming in CNN and MSNBC talking points, and that's a sizable bunch. So that's why I'm hoping that if there is something that will, old people get insecure, lonely. they scare easy. And if they get something to hang on to, you know, that there are things that are being done to improve quality of life, improve longevity, to bring some relief as far as the cost of living increases and things like that. That, I think, once that focus gets around there, I think we're going to be getting a lot of those people on board. And I'm talking about people that have hope. There are some people that are hopeless. We were told in the 17th letter that there's about 8%. Am I right? That it doesn't matter what you do, what you say. There's going to be 8 to 10% that you just write them off, forget them. So if Victor David Hanson is correct at 23%, we're looking at 15% of the population that is left to change. And I don't believe the polling has fully absorbed the impact of the murder of Charlie Kirk. That is, maybe it has, maybe it was a little higher before the polls were taken. But there are very few people that think that man deserved what he got. What do you see mostly as far as people celebrating? What is the profile? Let's put it that way. What's the profile of people that are celebrating what happened to Charlie Kirk? Be real, cogitate on it in an adult way, and think about 4 words, 5 words maybe to describe the type of person that is celebrating what happened to Charlie Kirk. Because there's something really wrong with people like that. I don't know if it's fixable. Roland, he's taking applications. You don't want him 21, I can tell you that. Teachers, Colette says. Well, I mean, you have teachers that, are very good, and we're just as heartbroken as we were at Charlie. Laura says, blue hair, unattractive, wild-looking eyes. Well, they're going to be young, right? They're going to be masking their face. Look at how these people socialize. Let's take the one who supposedly showed he didn't. I don't know if he came in by Zoom or whatever. Had his court date today. The one who took out Charlie. Odd, stunted, very little socialization, living in a dysphoric kitty world, cartoon world. I mean, what's this furry business but kitty land, cartoonish crap that's been sexualized? A life of Cheetos, video games, and fiddling with yourself in your parents' basement. What kind of personality is that going to? And I'm not trying to be funny. We got a lot of them like that. I'm not trying to be rude or funny. It's truth. Cheetos, Hot Pockets, fiddling with yourself, and watching video games. That and engaging in conversations with faceless fiddlers. I'll put it that way. Faceless self fiddlers eating Hot Pockets that don't exercise, don't get out, have no real world experience, but they formulate their core personalities. I tell you what, I don't have any children, but there would have been a problem because I would not let them have one of these. I call them picture phones. Because it's just a gateway to influencing the population. This wild nonsense didn't come about till these they called them Obama phones, till they came out and got handed out amongst the population. School systems started handing them out. And the propaganda, the corruption, the moral corruption began in full force. I was going to put Full Force Part 3 on my thumbnail, but I didn't have time to make a thumbnail. I might do that. They've been coming at us full force, starting with the Obama administration, and they have not let up since. So now it's time for us to come full force. But speaking of the generals meeting, that's, I would say, an initial meeting. There may have been a few chit-chats and communications today, but not a full-blown meeting. I understood the meeting to be Tuesday, which is tomorrow, with the generals, all 800 of them. That's got the left worried. And I'm talking about the boomer crowd that feels the world's coming to an end. They're scared. They think Trump is going to make some dictatorial move and take over the entire country, do away with the upcoming election, impose martial law. They are talking like folks were back in 2020 and 2021 after the election, after the 81 million votes. They are just as psychologically stoked and scared and anticipating something big happening, like a lot of folks were when 11.3, 1 year of the Biden administration had gone by. Remember that, folks? But I take the point that there is going to be action taken. There are going to be people that get set straight. I'll put it that way. There are going to be leashes that are shortened. That'll be the very best that happens to some of them. There are people that are going to get relieved. There are people that are going to be informed. Did you realize that you're going to retire next week? You know, it's, in other words, most of it is going to be done in a way so as not to appear to be a brutal purge that could be construed as a heavy-handed, unlawful action, hostile action by the president. If you were in charge of this generals meeting, and you know you had pick a figure, 50, 100, 150, however many it is, that need some form of discipline or removal, you would do it in a way that is non-sensational. But it gets done. For many of them, it's going to be your new assignment is in Alaska. Okay. And if you complain, you're going to have big problems. Whatever you're told to do, whatever your new assignment is, whatever your new position is, whatever person you're told you have to report to from now on, you're going to do it with a smile. We're not going to have dysentery in the ranks. Do you all concur that is the best way to do it, wouldn't you say? FBI just raided illegal in Portland, shining a green light. Yeah. He was living. Is he now? He must be the third one. I've seen two others. One was a 13-year-old kid, and but I think his parents were here unlawfully. He's a pseudo citizen, anchor baby, a fake citizen, and the other one's some drunk waddling around with no shirt on. And this must be the third one, shining laser lights at helicopters. One of them shined it at Marine One last week. I had that report, but I didn't get around to it because they wrapped him up real quick. Oh, Roland, don't start that. Talking about Charlie Kirk. I watched the video. I looked at the building layouts. I fired many a gun. And I had people laugh at me that I didn't think would laugh at me. Apparently, they didn't know me that well. I said, I could have hit that shot with what they call irons, no scope. With just my sights, I could have made that shot at 200 yards. And I was like, how dare they laugh at me? But yeah, I could have. And the bottom line is that it wasn't 200 yards. It was 165 yards, which is a big difference. It's not a professional shot. It's a shot a practiced person could make. A practiced person with a scope, especially. So I see that Candace Owens is putting up some stuff about Charlie Kirk. People were giving one creator a hard time because of Erica Kirk. He said, I don't think she had anything to do with it. I don't think there's a conspiracy with Erica Kirk, and he lost like 50 subscribers. And I'm like, they did you a favor. You don't need people like that. Anybody thinking that Erica Kirk had anything to do with her husband passing? I don't want that around me either. I don't even want to try to straighten anybody's brain out about that. People are putting up pictures of Jackie Kennedy after JFK got shot, and then putting a picture of Erica looking up to the heavens with a smile and saying, one is a real widow. They were talking about Jackie Onassis when she was still in shock, still had his brains in her lap, comparing photos to here she is. She's coped with her grief. She's in front of the world. Her job is to spread the word of Jesus Christ and to honor her husband and to have faith that he is with Christ. What is she supposed to do? You're told not to dress in sackcloth and ashes and beat yourself and walk around looking moped. You're told to hold your head up high and not to look for pity through your suffering for another person's passing. That's exactly what you're told to do. Not to say that Jackie Onassis was doing that. She was in natural shock, as I'm sure Erica was. I'm sure she cried her buckets of tears. I'm sure she went through the horror, emotional horror of accepting the death, but it wasn't photographed. So, you know, these twistings of human nature and finger pointing and suspicion and evil machinations coming in. This was a mentally disturbed individual that took a pot shot that hit. It was a muffed headshot. He was going for the guy's head. He muffed it, and it hit him and ended his life very quickly. And people talk about, well, where'd the bullet come out? I was trying to talk to one guy on the live stream. He kept putting his finger up to his neck where Charlie got hit, right, while he was talking. And he was saying, I don't think this guy is totally innocent. In other words, he's saying that he probably had a helper. And he's talking about where people were pointing. The buildings made a fishbowl. You have echoes off of buildings. You know, when I had a issue with my hearing when it first started, one ear I couldn't hear out of. My left. If something happened on my left side, I heard it on the right, and I turned my head looking out through the yard going, what happened over there? When it really happened over on my left. So you can't take some character out of a crowd. Well, he pointed in a direction 20 feet different than where the shooter was. No, that's stupid. Anyway, what he was doing was he was putting his finger to his neck while he was talking and describing the bullet. I want you all to do that right now. Where you saw the bullet, put your finger there to your neck. And there's about a 20-second delay here in Utizzle. But do that for me. I'm going to ask you a question. And remember, the shooter was elevated. The bullet was going in a downward trajectory. Also, the bullet drops like everything does. If you throw a ball, it goes up and it comes down. Because of what? Gravity. But anyway, if your finger is at your neck right now where you think Charlie got hit, press down. Press down. Press down. What do you feel? Put it in the chats. I'm not a telepathic all the time. Press down. What do you got? Miss Sue, you hit him on the left side of his neck first. I don't care. Don't you listen to these clickbait? I seen the video. I seen it, and I know what I'm talking about. I got freeze frames. I don't even want to put on this. I wouldn't even put them on the private channel because it's too gross. I got pictures of Thomas Crooks after he got hit. Okay, that I could put up. I won't because it's too gross. Thomas Crooks got his head popped off, and that's it. If you've got your finger on your neck where you think Charlie got hurt and you take your finger and pull it down, what are you touching? Well, I don't know how your body is made. You take your finger and go downward from where Charlie was struck. You go downward, you have a clavicle bone. It's right there. You feel. Where do you think he got hit? Up under his ear? He got hit right at the base of his neck. The outside left carotid artery, your collarbone. That's why I'm saying I want people to do it, to feel it. And a bone is what? A bone is hard. And a bullet is made out of lead. The softest metal you can get is lead, except gold. You can hammer gold out in little thin sheets. But lead's very dense. It's very soft. Now, you imagine the bullet coming in, hitting right there, and right there's the collarbone. You don't know if it struck the collarbone, nicked the collarbone, damaged the bullet, fractured the bullet, splintered the bullet, what it did. It's going at a downward trajectory, folks. So we're going to do a little anatomy class here. That's right. Roland, a .22 long rifle would hit from that far. Now, okay, folks, what happens next? What is on your back? Take your hand, reach back there. What's back there on your back? Downward trajectory from the base of your neck, because it's going to continue. Some of the bullet is going to continue. It's called, let's see if anybody guesses it. Yeah, that's right, Choosy. 165 yards. I could hit a soccer ball size target at 165 yards with just my sights. I don't need a scope. I could do it all day long. I told you I used to shoot beer cans out on the river, them floating by. It was like a Wild West show. Them things were probably 100 feet away from me, and I had a pistol and could shoot them up in the air. Beer cans. After I drank them, I mean, somebody else drank them. Okay, so got a spine. Play along, guys. A shoulder blade, shoulder blades, scapula. You got all those things back there. A scapula is from the Latin shovel or spade. It's a wide bone, wider than your hand. It's a flat, wide bone, and it's hard. And it came out the other side. Where you at, Miss Sue? There are people showing, there she is. There are people showing that there's an exit wound on the other side of his neck. That could be a doctored photo. Like I said, I got some pictures that I would not show. It could be a fraction, shrapnel, a shrapnel piece that came out, and a good portion of the actual ordnance, I'll say, is still in his body, because it's that shovel piece that is flat like your hand, bigger than your hand, and it can go in a downward direction and end up at your pelvis. I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm trying to say the facts of the matter is, it ends up in a rib, and doesn't go any farther. It could have hit. It could have done like a what's that? Pachinko. When you drop a ball down, it drops down and hits from side to side. Pinball almost. It could have gone off of one rib, hit another rib. It could have gone off a rib, hit the spine. It could have, who knows? And I use the example of when Alex Baldwin did what he did. I see 10 people dropped off because they don't want to hear it. It's a fact of life. It's a fact of life. When Alex Baldwin shot that producer or director, right? Did you all watch where they did a layout of where everybody was right when the gun went off? That's right, Miss Mindersu, Ricochet. Well, we all hold that hope out, Miss Mindersu, but I believe he's gone. I believe he's gone. I'll get into even more there. I'll put that up there, Miss Mindersu, so people can see what you're thinking. And since Roland agreed with you, but I'm afraid he's not with us anymore, honey. And I'll tell you about the liquid. Okay, I'm not using the word BLOOND. Okay. Plinko. Yeah. Well, sissy, no autopsy, because if that had been my loved one and I saw what happened, I wouldn't want an autopsy either. Do you know what they do to a body at an autopsy? I wouldn't. I would say, what's the point? You see what happened to him. He had his jugular vein, carotid artery, whatever you want to call it, totally severed. And that could have been from a bullet and a bone fragment from the collarbone. Because, I mean, it's not going to just crack like a piece of plastic. It's going to shatter the bone, and bone is hard and sharp. And it severed it right now. But back to the story about before I get into the liquid part of it. He pointed the what he thought was a prop gun right at the director, and she said, now, I guess she gave him the signal to fire, and he said, like this, and he pulled the trigger, pow! It went off and hit her. She was right in front of him. What did it do? It ricocheted off her body. It went through her body after ricocheting off bone and went to Alec Baldwin's left at a sharp angle and struck another producer. Remember that, folks? And he was taken to the hospital. It went in one way and came out in another. And the guy was standing probably 2 feet off to the left, Alec Baldwin's left, the person who got shot, her right. So that's just one example, folks. And if no one was standing there and the bullet got lodged into a post off to the side, and someone said, well, the shooter would have had to been not Alec Baldwin, but somebody way over there, not paying attention to ricochets. Angel, nice to see you. Why would the parents be involved? This is a member of a hedonistic cult of dysphoric weirdos that are carrying around a big bag of anger with them because they're miserable and unhappy. They have no future. Subconsciously, they know it, that they're condemning themselves, and instead of changing their lives, they're lashing out at people who are living in a way to please God and having a happy life, having children, having a future. They can't stand people like that because they're everything they can never be as long as they embrace this satanic mentality. But I'm stunned when I read comments or listen to broadcasts by podcasters or wannabe podcasters. One guy was sitting there, he was smoking one of the things like a pipe that bubbles and a bong, what do you call it? And on YouTube and talking like some kind of authority, a smoked up piece of shit. You know what? Sitting there talking, well, I think there was another shooter involved. And he had like 500 people in his chats. And all of them throwing out these theories and twisted garbage about a tragedy and not taking it exactly as they see it. A person, a young man who was dating a drug-addled person who dresses like a woman that is a man also. They both dress up like characters from some cartoon and fiddle each other, and worse. What kind of future are you going to have? What's your circle of friends going to be like? What are going to be your concerns every day when you wake up, if that's your life and your behavior? How are you going to view people that are raising families, living normal lives, having a bright future? You're going to hate them. You're going to despise them because your mind's in the gutter. Your mind's in a satanic S-hole. Okay. So anyway, one of the things the other thing the guy was doing was scratching and rubbing. He said he had dog hair on him or something. Listen, I ain't no expert, but I seen my share of itchy, scratchy, coffee weirdos. It's more than pot. I seen just about. I had friends that were judges. I had friends that were attorneys. I had friends that were cops, and they smoked pot. Some of them didn't, but a lot of them did. They weren't sitting there wiggling, scratching, and itching. And this is a YouTube video. This is where any kid could watch this example being set. Sitting there and smoking dope on YouTube. And like I said, I had 500 some people babbling nonsense. And you try to ask a question or challenge them, they get smart aleck and they block you, which is fine, because let them be their smoked up, itchy, whatever they are. But people that sit there and waste their time listening to people like that. But one of the things he was saying was that there wasn't no spray. You would expect to see spray. When the heart beat, you would see spray. Listen, you idiot. When you completely sever something at the end of a garden hose, when there's no sprayer on the end of it, you can cut the faucet on full blast. It's not going to, until you put your thumb over it, it's not going to spray. It's just gurgle out of there. That's exactly what happened with Charlie. It was open garden hose. And the top part of it, gravity, what blood was in his head, dumped right down. That's why he lost consciousness in a snap of a finger. He did not. I agree with what Erica was told, that he didn't suffer because he had no time to feel the pain, and he had no lifeblood in his head. Gravity just dumped it right out of that open garden hose, and it just gurgled out, and there was no stopping it. He could have been, as they said, he could have been in the emergency room, gotten that wound, and would not have survived. And it wasn't because of skill. It was because of a muffed headshot that may or may not have hit a collarbone and fractured, put a fracture, whatever it did, it cut that entirely in half. Now, why would I want my loved one? I don't want to describe an autopsy to you. But I wouldn't want that to be done to my loved one when I know what the hell happened. I saw it. But here they come. Oh, I think he had an accomplice. I think there was a second shooter. I think the shot came from behind. I think the people were giving hand signals behind Charlie. What idiot would stand behind somebody they knew was a target from a high-powered rifle and give hand signals? Okay, go ahead and shoot. I'm standing 2 inches away from his body as far as angle goes. Line of sight. Did you ever see somebody get shot by accident? If you did, you wouldn't be anywhere near him if you were supposedly giving the hand signals out. And it turned out to be a preacher, somebody that's known Charlie all his life. Hi, Diane. Yeah, I don't care where Cash Patel. Cash Patel, I'll talk about him in a minute. Mr. Bender Sue, if you saw the video I saw, especially slow motion, it came out the side. It didn't come down the front of his shirt. There was no exit wound out the back. It dumped over the side of his left shoulder. It poured. And he leaned over to his left, and it was all pouring out of him. I hate to be that descriptive, but that's exactly what it was. When you pour from a pitcher, do you see it all over the front of the pitcher, the back of the pitcher, all over your hands? No, it poured out. I did too, MS Motorsports. Please use zeros next time. Do me a favor. When you put that word in. I should have said that earlier. But yeah, there was plenty of it. Plenty of it. And you know, if you want to find out why you wouldn't order not autopsy, watch a video on what autopsy entails, what they do. Yeah, it was a big gush. It just poured down and out. And plus his heartbeat, it ejected it. And it just had nowhere to go. And that's why I'm thinking part of the bone in the collarbone might have been involved, because it was such a large rupture. And Cash got a little heated. Everybody knows he got a little heated. Reports were that he yelled at agents who didn't put the photos out of this guy for 12 hours. And I didn't say anything. You know, I don't want to criticize the man in the arena or woman in the arena from the sidelines. I don't want to do that, especially when a situation is hot. But after a situation is not hot, I can put my 2 cents in. as an agent, if they did not show that picture, until you know who it is and where they are, of course, are dangerous. There's nothing more dangerous than somebody that's scared for their own well-being. And he wasn't a Dairy Queen. A lot of people say, well, why would he go to a Dairy Queen if he was a murderer? What the hell did you want him to do? He was trying to get his grandfather's gun back. His grandfather was asking where it was. It is his grandfather's gun. It's a World War I gun. I said it was going to be an old Mauser, and I said they used them in World War I and World War II. It was a specific, special gun to the old man and to anybody else, a World War I Mauser with a very expensive scope on it. What was he going to do waiting for things to settle down? Hide behind a bush for hours and look suspicious as can be? No. He'd do just like Brian Kohberger did after Brian Kohberger did what he did to those 4 people at the Idaho school. He went to Costco. He wandered around, shopping, acting innocent, trying to build an alibi. Hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm a normal person. I didn't do anything to those 4 people. But they read suspicion and conspiracy in every little thing. Back to the FBI not releasing the photos. Let's just say he's in the Burger King, or Dairy Queen. Nobody knows about it. Oh, I'll tell you something else. There's a creator that's gotten over 1 million views. 1.5 million views. Because he went to the Dairy Queen. And he was talking all these theories and conspiracies. And I'm at the Dairy Queen, folks. Here we are. Oh, I look inside. What do I see? The place is empty. It's closed down. Why did they close down the Dairy Queen? That's where he went, the Dairy Queen. Now it's closed. Very suspicious. Well, it turned out the dumbass was at the wrong damn Dairy Queen. And people try to tell him that in his comments, and he just blocks them because he's got a viral video out. So people are having their brains twisted and bent by a clickbaiter. But anyway, you've been in Burger King's, Dairy Queen, whatever. They have a TV on the wall, right? You're an FBI agent. You have no idea whether this person has a pistole on them or a blade or what. You don't know where they are. You put pictures out there, and this guy is in a crowded Dairy Queen, looks up and sees himself on the screen, and everybody takes a look at him. What's he going to do if he's armed? He's going to take hostages. He could lash out and hurt somebody. He could try to flee and steal a car with a kid inside of it. Get what I'm saying, folks? So if it's true that Kash Patel blew his cork and yelled at FBI agents for not disclosing the pictures right away, he was in the wrong. Hi, Judy. Did I miss anybody? B, how you doing, B Charming? Marla, gotta go. It's just getting good. Well, Miss Minister, don't think that way. If you want to feel that Charlie's still with us, I don't think Charlie would pull a hoax on us like that. Think about it. Think about it. What kind of cruelty would you have to have in your heart to break other people's hearts around the world? Do you think Charlie is that kind of a deceiver? Do you think that he would cause heartache, fear, and tragic thoughts for millions of people? Do you think that's what he's made out of? Hi, Judy. Well, thank you, Judy. I appreciate that. Hey, you know what? I'm going to put. Wait a minute. I did it earlier. How do I do that? Let me see. I think there's some way I can put it up on the screen. Judy said, "Makes sense to her." I can't do it. I did it with Miss Mindersues. I don't know why I can't do it now. I want to put it on the screen. You think you would for his country? Okay. I'm not criticizing you. A lot of people hold out hope. Would he do it as part of an operation? Is what you're saying. Would he do it as part of an operation? I don't know how to put it up on the screen, Judy Ray, but I would if I could. I don't know how I got Miss Minderses up there earlier. Maybe it was meant to be. But anyway, I don't think it was part of an operation. I think the agents were correct because AI can whittle the number of suspects down to about between six and half a dozen to a dozen, 6 to a dozen within minutes of suspects, if not less. And then you find out who they are, where they are. Is it safe to confront them or expose them? That's when you do it. You don't leave it all to chance for 3, 4, 5 people inside a Dairy Queen to be in a dangerous situation. Or a wild man fleeing. If he was decrepit of mind and soul enough to do what he did to Charlie, you don't know who else he'd hurt. And it was definitely his grandfather's gun. And who else would have it? Oh, I loaned it to the guy that went over on the other building back behind Charlie. And it just doesn't make sense. It's just people flight of fancy, and they got a little too much time on their hands. And the clickbaiters are going to clickbait. They're going to clickbait, and watch out for them. I don't clickbait. I could put up thumbnails where I could have 1,000 people in the chats talking crap. I don't do that. Especially when people are concerned, afraid, and want answers. It's so easy to play on people's emotions, and I would never do that. Not for clicks. So I was going to talk about the general thing, about what's going on in Chicago. I'm going to keep talking about stuff like that. Or Oregon is suing to stop Trump from putting out the National Guard. These judges that play along with them have to be put on a list, and they need to be removed. These ones that are not acting in a common sense manner. They're not following the Constitution, and they're actively undermining our system and our laws. They need to be removed. That's right. We want the truth. Well, Miss Mindersu, we saw the truth. And if, let's just say, Miss Mindersu, let's just say that is so, that he did it as an operation to save his country.
Why would you want to expose him? Why would you want to discredit him? Why would you want to say he's a charlatan, that he just faked everybody out? He's really in hiding. In other words, why wouldn't you go along with it? That's what I'm saying. But I got to go with what I know and what I saw. And there's even more to the ballistics end of it. With the vacuum a bullet creates, contraction, expansion, that type of stuff. And there's nobody else involved. He did it. People are saying in a foggy, in a fuzzy, faraway video that they saw, we didn't see a gun. Well, if you hide the butt of that gun, either in the backpack or in your shirt, coat, whatever, you're talking about something that's smaller in diameter than a broom handle, the barrel, and part of the stock, which is a little bit bigger than a broom handle, and half the length, less than half, a third of the length, the part that wouldn't be concealed. How are you going to see that in some faraway, fuzzy video? He had it. They found it exactly where he put it. They saw him on video go behind the house. I showed the video where he ran behind the house and was back there for a good bit and popped out the other side. Yeah. Now, his text messages, I think they're set up. I think they're rehearsed. He was 24 hours, over almost 2 days, where they could have commiserated. Of course, they would have had timestamps on the text messages. So anyway, so that's what I'm thinking about. The general thing is that things are going to happen, but it's not going to be a spectacle. The people that are a problem are going to be corralled, contained, expelled, whatever needs to be done, depending each one to their circumstance. But what we're going to end up with our military leadership being the best that we're able to get. And the weak links are going to be removed. The people that are problematic are, like I said, corralled, contained, or removed. And it's not going to be a spectacle. They're going to be told to keep their mouths shut, because we're talking national security. We're talking a counterinsurgency. We're talking about the biggest military operation in world history we're going through right now. And we're not playing games. That is going to be the message tomorrow. People are saying Trump acted like he didn't know Hegseth called the meeting. That is baloney. That's crap. They're trying to act like Trump is disconnected, that Pete Hegseth is taking over the military. I mean, they made that statement that Trump seemed unaware on major news sources. And Trump was like, oh, yeah, I think it's nice to get along. Everybody should get together and get along. With a little smile on his face. What, 800 of them? Be there or be square. Be there or beware. And nobody's not going to show up, I'll put it that way. They're all going to be there. And I'll go so far as to say if they're not there, they're going to be in trouble. That they won't maintain their position. Oh, okay, Judy. Yeah, see what Judy says there? Charlie. So anyway, we shall see what happens tomorrow and how it's portrayed. We may have some people that just can't keep their mouth shut, and especially ones that are dismissed. And I'm sure that these 7 months and prior to that, there has been a great deal of thought that has been given to each individual flag officer. Everyone that's coming to that meeting tomorrow, their case files have been analyzed, their comments, their behaviors, and a strategy for how to deal with each one of them commiserate to their performance and behavior. I'll go further to say that every one of them that are concerned have had their comments, phone calls, conversations monitored, because we're not going to put up with crap. We're not going to put up with woke crap. We're not going to put up with Marxist crap. We're not going to put up with none of that crap. Not in the military. So we'll look for that. What's going to happen with that? You know, and I have to try to catch myself sometimes. Because with this guy that hit the Mormon church, I talked about that last night, didn't I? Those of you who are still with me, I had about 30 people. I guess they want to go out and chase who is the real person that shot Charlie Kirk. I think Cash Patel did it. Or what the hell's going through their brains? I hope they don't come back. Go watch that pothead. So I was talking about the guy that hit the Mormon church, right? Remember what I said? I said that I watched a video from a guy who is kind of a comedian. He is a comedian. And he does narratives about big cases called True Crime Loser. He did a video on Donna Adelson, Brian Kohlberger, Alex Murdaugh, all these stories and stuff about true crime. He did a video and he was a Mormon. His family was Mormon, and he has I think he's from Utah. He says where he's from a couple of times in his videos. But anyway, he was talking about how invasive the church can be in your personal life as a married couple. I mean, they can dictate who stays in the house, who's got to go away for weeks or months at a time, what kind of training and classes you have to have. You have to talk about very intimate stuff. And I said that cops have said in the past, I'd rather stick my head in a beehive before I would get into a marital argument. But they do it. And I'm sure they're not the only ones. I mean, I'm not going specifically with Mormon here. there are a lot of people who love to interfere in other people's relationships. We all know that, but especially if you got to go to some 80-some-year-old deacon and tell him your most intimate things, something kind of weird about that. But anyway, I said it could very well be that there's some kind of anger from that kind of treatment. Remember me saying that last night, folks? Well, I saw a video where a guy is running for a local council position or some kind of local governing position. And he met the person like a day before it happened or 2 days before it happened. He said, I had a conversation with him. He said, next thing I know, I see his picture on TV. He did this horrible thing. And the reporter said, well, what'd you all talk about? Excuse me, I was sipping my coffee. Oh, by the way, I got a link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. If anybody wants to help the channel out, I appreciate it. I'll put a link in the I'll put a link in the chats if I can for Buy Me a Coffee. If anybody wants to help out after the video also. Appreciate it. Let's see. He said, what did y'all talk about? He said, well, he thought that the Mormon church represented Satan. And the guy was like, really? He said, yeah. He said that the guy lived in Utah, right? And was dating a woman. I don't know if he said he was married to a woman or dating her. I believe he was dating. That was a Mormon. And he had to remove tattoos, go through a bunch of jumping jacks to please the church. And I guess it blew up in his face. There, if it goes through, okay, if I typed it in right, I don't know. Excuse me. Let me have a sip of my coffee. Oh, that's good. So yes, there is a link, a past involvement with the church that is exactly what I was speculating about last night, that he had interference in a relationship. And you know what? If it's a past relationship, I don't know if it's his current wife or not. It may be. But he had a lot of anger about having to have his tattoos removed, about having to go to these counseling sessions, about the church before they would accept him, what he had to do, and all this kind of stuff. And past relationships, some people carry around with them for years, like a load of bricks. And it's a load of bricks they want to carry. Can you imagine if you're married to a spouse and they're carrying around a past relationship like a load of bricks that they want to carry? It's hard to have a relationship with them, It's like, come on, let's get in the car, honey. Oh, wait a minute, let me get this load of bricks and shove it doesn't work. So if it's a past relationship, enmity, anger, blaming the church that's why his first relationship didn't work out, or if there's problems in his current relationship, or whatever. Exactly what I thought it was going to be. But something happened that made me almost go down the road of, is there more to this? And I found it odd that within hours before the shooting happened, that man passed away. I got it somewhere in my studio, but I won't jump out to look for it. At 101 years old. Remember that, folks? Church of Latter-day Saints. And I said, is Church of Latter-day Saints the same thing as Mormon? And I was pretty sure it was, but I'd be careful with what I said. Yes, it is. Church of Latter-day Saints is. Hours before the shooting, Trump posted about this 101-year-old man passing away. Church of Latter-day Saints. He was very respectful, like he was when Billy Graham passed away. No different, as far as level of respect he gave the man. Because, you're dealing with another faith structure or whatever, people, millions of people. And, but isn't that odd that this patriarch, 101-year-old man passed away? Trump makes a truth about it. And then within hours, this terrible thing happens. But you know what? People say, well, there's no such thing as coincidences. Yeah, that's true. But I'll tell you something else that's true. Remember Forrest Gump? He got credited with being at all these different special events in history and everything. And he inspired the button that said SH, and that's it happens, right? You know what I'm saying, folks? There are no coincidences, but sometimes stuff happens. SH, and that's it. And so I got myself off that train. You know what I'm saying? You got to get yourself off that kind of a train. Let's see. Yeah, it's hard to say with another. I don't know what they believe totally. I know some of it. I go by the book, okay? The book. Not something somebody wrote in 1800, nearly 2,000 years after Christ and 5,000 years after Abraham. Yeah, Sparky, it's right. It's a very, very personal. I encourage you to. I'll try to find a link to that video. I couldn't find it because he didn't have it in his title. But I'm going to say he's going to do a video on it after he gets some information. Well, maybe she did try to get her. I don't know. No, they're very strict. They're very strict, and they will tell you. They'll manage your as a couple. They will manage how you live and how you everything. I had friends that were Mormons and stuff like that. Boy, I tell you, that's a good way to get rid of people. I put the link for Buy Me a Coffee and another 20 dropped off. That's okay too. But anyway, folks, so we're going to keep an eye on this, what happened with that church thing. That's the second instance where we've had veterans do horrible things. And we're at the peak of this operation where things are getting very bad, and the baddies are running out of moves. And I do remember about what we were told about MK, and then the other word is ultra. And that's right.
choosy. Ha ha ha. That's right, but usually that's not the case. Choosy. But anyway, but it's, yeah, you always look at the best in people. You're right, Choosy. They said about Jason Bourne, Dreams, and where do they work on these people? In the military. They work on them in the military. I'm talking about psychologically, how they work on them. So we just got to hope that, well, I know we just got to know that who's in control. The Patriots are in control. And I have never seen a conflict or a war where there weren't casualties. This guy, suspect in North Carolina waterfront bar shooting, was a Purple Heart recipient. Prosecutors are weighing the death penalty for a Marine veteran who allegedly opened fire from a boat on a waterfront bar in Southport, North Carolina over the weekend. 3 people lost their lives and wounding 8 others in a highly premeditated attack. Now, that could be something not simple, but something like a personal grudge against a social group that he was on the outs with. It could be maybe he lost his loved one, his sweetheart to somebody, and they were at the bar having a time, and he blew a cork. It could be something just that common of a jealous lover, highly premeditated. Highly premeditated. So it didn't work. Did I put it in right? Oh, it didn't take you to it? I'll put it in there again. No, it's the right link. I've been using it for years. And I've got the, it's my page because you got the Trump Batman signal, where Trump silhouette in the bat signal. That's me. That's the mountain man you go to. There you go. Well, anyway, since I bored a lot of people out of here, what have we been up? Oh my gosh, an hour and 43 minutes. Thank you all for giving me thumbs ups if you did. I appreciate it. And for sharing the video. And I'll probably come up Wednesday night giving an error. Well, just go to buymeacoffee.com and they say, look up creators. They got a button say, look up creators. Put in Mountain Man and look for the, don't give to a different Mountain Man. I got the Trump silhouette, the bat signal with Trump's silhouette in it. That's me. But anyway, folks, I appreciate you trying. I'll check and see what's going on with it. But anyway, Norm, I want to thank Wayne. Wayne went by last night, buy me a coffee, or today, buy me a coffee. See, he said he had to go to Rumble and get the link off one of my Rumble videos because I think YouTube is blocking them. YouTube's blocking them. So, but Mike and Bev, I think they have it in their memory somewhere in their phone. They saved the link. And I want to thank Mike and Bev and Gary and Norm. He had to go to Rumble also to get the link.
So anyway, that's everybody's helped out this week. So anyway, folks, I want to thank you once again for spending your precious time with me. And I didn't go over half the stories I wanted to. Maybe I'll go live tomorrow night. I don't know, but probably Wednesday. If you're subscribed, you'll know when I go live, right? So anyway, I hope you all have a great evening. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.